invaded by Russia. Um, uh, you know, it's crazy. We can think this is a really big world, and in truth, in many senses, it is. It's a huge, huge world. The other aspect is many of us know people, across the world thanks to social media or our own connections and travels. We have friends in Ukraine, actually, a number of friends. We have very close friends. My son, so you know him as Nordic Liam or as Liam, and he has a guitar instructor there in Ukraine. So beautiful family, man, two daughters, son, guitar instructor there, and Liam has been meeting with him for 5 years now, and friends of friends connection there. Um, so every week for 5 years, we've had a connection with them, and we reached out to Yuri to see how things were. What's the news on the ground? And so for the last couple of weeks, we've had updates of things and have wondered what is this really? And obviously in the last 24, 48 hours, we've gone from words, concerns, troop movements, those kinds of things, to legitimate chickens, to legitimate invasion. To this is real. This is real. This is now. There are bombs. There are aircraft flying over, and now there are millions of Ukrainians seeking shelter, looking to get across the border wherever they can. Many of them headed to Poland as maybe the most likely and best option for them. And so Yuri and his family are headed that direction. All men age 18 to 60 are conscripted or required to take up arms to defend Ukraine. And I obviously on a national level, I get that. As a father myself, it would be an incredibly difficult decision to make, to send your family off. And at the same time, I think each of us as fathers, as protectors, understand the call there. We think of these 18 to 60, right? Think of how many men are now separating from their families, if they can get their families to the border, if they can get their families across the border. So they are in a rented car headed north to Poland to try to walk across the border, to leave their father, who will go back and will pick up a rifle, which he may or may not have ever held in his life, to defend his country against Russia. Godspeed to all Ukrainians. God forgive and hearten. Let's move to forgiveness when there's a call to it. Let's move to gaining sense. If you have a connection in Poland, please reach out to me. If you have families in the area who can assist, please reach out to me. If you have a knowledge of a Ukrainian who needs assistance, reach out to that person. They still have, at least in many areas, they still have cellular connections. They still have internet. That has not gone down at this point in time. I would ask that you would reach out to the connections that you have globally. This is a time of families reaching out to other families. Yes, there are camps. The American military, it's no secret, is on the Polish border. They're there in strong numbers, but they are there as peacekeepers. They are there to support Ukrainians coming across the border at this time. My request there is that we can get families to families rather than to refugee camps, wherever we can. One, that provides more resources for Ukrainians who don't have the resources to get the assistance that they need. And two, even more so, wherever we can we connect people with people, not organizations, but people, to remember that each of us are just individuals. We're families, and that we are stronger, better when we connect. When we recognize that families first, Our country comes next. Our faith is preeminent above all things, and that from strong countries, from strong families, come strong alliances, come strong neighborhoods, come strong neighboring nation relations. We must never descend into global politics, into globalism. We must never surrender our arms. We must always remain able to defend ourselves and recognize that the role of protection, that protection is where we have strength, and defense is where we must focus our efforts. Defending freedom, protecting our families and our communities. We must never surrender our arms. We must always be ready to protect, to defend, to seek peace, to pursue peace. Thank you, everyone. If you have connections, reach out. If you have those who need support, help find it. This isn't a time to keep scrolling on your phones. It's a time to reach out, do what you can, let your voice be heard.